good afternoon from Hamburg. I'm sitting in our beautiful office, and I'm joined by my colleague Monica, as already introduced. She's not here, unfortunately, and we both are very happy to have in reach Ravi, who is helping us to better understand the industry. We will have some questions to him. We want to hear from his experience by supporting our customers, which are terminals for the bulk logistics in oil and petrochemical industry. And that is also the main topic of today, not surprisingly, terminals. With a bit of specific focus on maritime terminals, so terminals at the seaside and their logistics. And so one of my first questions to you, Ravi, is if you look at FETSA, what is the role of FETSA and specifically also yourself in supporting the members? And also what kind of members are in FETSA organized?
Thank you very much, first of all, to OpenTAS and yourselves for inviting FETSA, represented by me, to the event that you're holding today, and welcome to all the participants. FETSA is a trade association. It represents the bulk liquid storage sector, and the members of FETSA and their members store Europe's commercial, strategic, and military stockpiles of energy carriers. When I say store Europe's, I don't mean necessarily store products owned by Europe per se, but owned by all of the commercial actors and sometimes governments that are within geographic Europe. In total, FETSA represents over 140 companies, which is approximately 700 terminals across geographic Europe. This includes the UK, it includes also Turkey, and the majority of the countries in between, above, to the right, left, etc. In terms of the FETSA membership, we are composed of national associations. You may know very well the UTV, Unabhängiger Tanklagerverband, and this is an example of one of our national associations, in this case Germany, but we also represent national associations across geographic Europe. And in countries where there is no national association representing terminals, we represent the terminal companies directly. This is the case in the Nordics, for example, in Poland, also in Turkey. And we have another category of members. These are called supplier partners. These are companies who want to have a collaboration with the tank storage sector because they're providing services to terminals, and you are a great example of that. As for my role, I'm leading FETSA. I'm speaking from Brussels, located in Brussels, because this is where the European institutions are. NATO is also here. The International Energy Agency is close in Paris. And as FETSA, we work with these international bodies on a number of subjects ranging from energy transition to strategic stockpiles to give the view of the industry towards these international bodies.
Thanks for the insights, Ravi. And as you talk about terminals, I mean, you can imagine that it's deep in our heart. That is our core business. I always say I literally live in terminals 35 years long now. And for us, it's the big importance to serve those terminals. And we believe that there is an important role of storage terminals and specifically also independent storage providers for Europe and the European Union. And maybe that even changed in a certain direction in the, let's say, last years. What is your opinion on it? What do you think, which role do storage terminals play for Europe?
In a short answer, let's say we store critical industrial inputs. These include energy carriers, both legacy energy carriers, and now we are shifting towards perhaps maybe I can describe those future energy carriers, including the things like sustainable aviation fuel. As a bit of a longer answer, you can see storage in the context of long and wide supply chains. Storage enables supply chains. They facilitate imports, which are becoming even more important as a lot of EU industry in the chemicals and the energy extraction is being offshored. Storage ensures a very stable supply of domestic consumption of feedstocks and energy. It acts as a buffer to even out supply and demand. This boosts both the stability of European industry and contributes to its competitiveness. This is true both for storage of energy supplies, but also a wider range of industrial inputs, not even limited to chemicals, but inclusive of fats, feeds, fertilizers, and so on. But I think most importantly, we are providing a societal need, a very basic societal need of energy that enables energy and chemicals that enable a normal commercial life to function, and also that enables a normal commercial life to function in a crisis because of our role as holding, or the role of our members as holding strategic reserves.
Okay, thanks for the answer. If I have to remind myself, you're sitting in Brussels and European Union, that comes into my mind is legislation. This is what European Union is famous for, and maybe Brussels is famous for. And we also, as a service provider, are, let's say, impacted, confronted with a lot of legislation. Our customers need to follow, the terminals need to follow, and need to comply with. And also, they have a certain change in regards of, let's say, political expectations on European terminals being also seen as critical infrastructure. If you consider these effects, what of these elements are currently of highest importance from your point of view, from FETSA point of view, and the terminals you represent?
Okay, I think just the fact that most terminals, or the ports even that terminals are located in, are considered as critical national infrastructure, it puts a specific or several specific obligations on those terminals. This can mean compliance with cybersecurity standards. It can mean compliance with physical security standards. You have an overall burden of compliance when it comes to customs legislation that we work on. You also have product-specific safety regulations. You have to comply with zero pollution strategies, so zero pollution to the air, to the soil, to the aquatic environment. We comply with more macro policies such as climate goals through capturing emissions, enabling the storage of more sustainable products. If you think about the geopolitical space, the burden of sanctions has often been falling on our companies as we monitor the products coming into terminals, their origins, the boat owners, and so on. It's a highly regulated sector from many perspectives.
Okay, I can only confirm some of these because we, as said, we witness this and we are also requested to follow this legislation with our software. And you already mentioned ports, and again, also subject of today's webinar is with a focus on maritime terminals. So terminals who manage a lot of vessel in and outbound movements. And if you look at this type of terminals, what do you think? Which role does they play for the supply of Europe, and did their relevance change in the recent years?
And just today, I've had 4 meetings. Each one of them has been about maritime terminals because of the growing importance in Europe today. And the main reason for this is that we have experienced a modal shift in energy logistics in Europe. And This is frankly the shift from Russian pipeline flows to shipborne flows of oil and gas or refined products also from across the world. This creates an increased geographic distance to receive energy products for Europe. It increases transit times of product. It means that energy markets have more product blocked at sea at any given moment. It's led to a structural price premium on energy products in Europe because of all these supply chain impacts. The risks of imports have increased because long distance vessel transport is characterized by the risk of military conflict, closure of critical choke points, extreme weather events, etc., etc. And this puts import infrastructure, which are essentially maritime terminals, under much greater pressure than before because their throughput has increased. They're working at capacity, I would say, because of this modal shift, which means that we have to pay extra attention to efficiency and most of all, safety.
Okay, that sounds already complex. And just to top this, and I think we all witness another change. It's already our customers are confronted with a huge variety of different products, so petrochemicals, chemicals, bioproducts, LNG, and so on. And they all are also part of an energy transition policy in the European Union. And it would be interesting for us also to understand to what degree does this impact your members, and how can you support them on these changes? Because sometimes things are politically planned but not realized in the time they should be, and it's an invest issue for terminals sometimes. What is your experience in this regard?
I would say that we are experiencing two big shifts in parallel. The first is the geopolitical shift and some of the consequences I mentioned in my previous response. The second aspect is, let's say, the energy transition, or some people call it climate crisis, and this also leads to a shift in terminal behavior and preparations. If I focus on the energy transition for a moment, if you look at FETSA's most recent statistical publication, you will see that the terminals represented by FETSA plan to invest, I think, more than 5 billion euros over the next 5 years. Part of this relates to energy security and increased resilience of terminals, but part of it also means adapting to the future products. These could be hydrogen carriers. We already see biofuels and different generations of biofuels, including sustainable aviation fuel, becoming a growing part of European storage, partly because this is regulated in terms of what should come onto the market and in what year. But one of the fascinating aspects is that new energies, particularly those that are hydrogen based, are much less energy dense than existing energies. So this means that for Europe to import the same amount of energy, it has to import a much greater volume of product than before, which again has the potential to put additional strain on import architecture that requires substantial modifications for some types of hydrogen carriers like ammonia, and also the cracking facilities to get the hydrogen out at the end. And it also puts us into a safety environment that doesn't get any easier as we move towards 2050 because of the different characteristics of the products being imported, which may be more toxic, if you take ammonia as an example.
Sounds challenging, and in a way good news for us, Monica, because a lot of work to modernize terminals. Thanks for the insights on more the, let's say, global point of view or European point of view. We would like now to change a bit the way to look at things and come to the day-to-day challenges. And maybe you can share a bit of your experience about that.
So what we like to do is try and translate the big headlines that you will see in the newspaper on geopolitics, sanctions, energy transition to the day-to-day life of the terminal. And as I mentioned, we have an increasing need for efficiency, an increasing need for safety, because of the new burdens placed on maritime terminals. How do you see yourselves as addressing these kind of challenges? What ideas do you have on the operational side?
Efficiency is a magic word, always, I have to say, requested by our customers. They look for efficiency and being more faster and with their operations and to have more plannable operations, no downtimes, and. And that is, in a way, it is a challenge in regards that the most terminals are not greenfield terminals, they're existing terminals. And that means for us that we are working on finding the right, let's say, sweet spot between standardization of processes, which only works to a certain degree. You have to consider the local situation of the terminal, specific regulations of the country. Even though we are European Union, there's the differences. And really look for the best level of automation which can be achieved. Despite the variety of underlying equipment and, let's say, level 2 instruments being used. That's one. So to be flexible on that, but still aim for automation and standardization of processes as far as this is feasible. Another element which is important, which we see more and more relevant also for our customers, is the integration of the other participants in the supply chain. Let's look at a vessel movement. You have multiple participants. You have the captain, you have the customer, you have agents, and today a lot is done still by paperwork and telephone calls and so on, and that can be far better integrated. We do it by providing portal solutions. We integrate other standard solutions for harbor management, and we try to really make it in part of the integrated workflow. And you mentioned in the beginning one thing which plays a big role, if you look at especially international sea shipping, which is customs. A lot of money behind. The customs are very interested in that everything is clearly tracked, and this means that we really look for a workflow integration of customs processes, less paperwork, making this secure, and then also by this consider the new regulations, like you already mentioned, embargoes of countries which are no longer allowed to deliver product. So we have to react on this, and we achieve this also by a modular solution where we can change those things, let's say, on the go without larger new implementation efforts. What else you have as challenges, Ravi?
I think one of the challenges is about the energy transition. So as a concept, the energy transition is extremely wide. And if you look at the suite of regulation that comes from that, you have many taxation initiatives, you have subsidy programs, you have new types of liquid fuels, you have carbon capture, tariff-based hydrogen imports, permitting, even new products like critical raw materials that could conceivably be stored in bulk. So how do you address specifically some of this wide range of issues? How can you help us manage it?
I think I'll take this question, Thomas, if you allow me. Hello, also from my side to also hear my voice here. I will take this question. I will be glad to answer it. So we as OpenTAS Group, we see this energy transition not just as a product shift, but also as an operational challenge, and also from the independent terminal storages as a service challenge, definitely. So the new products like hydrogen, you mentioned Ravi, hydrogen, biofuels, SAF, they come all with different handling requirements, different safety procedures, and also different reporting procedures if we think about the ESG compliance and so on. So, and in order to support all this transition, we also learn, and we learn this with our customers and with our partners. I think the key is here really the partnership, because we can, when we take a look what's happening, what's rapidly changing currently in the regulations world, the question would be, where do we start with a product portfolio from my perspective? So the question is, how do we manage to enhance our portfolio in this rapid way and also in a pragmatic way? And this we do with partnerships with our customers, with different kind of partners who really have concrete use cases. They need to solve a problem, and we would do it in a pragmatic way. Overarching, we definitely need to support with our products the storage and the blending for the new energy sources. And we also need to basically provide our customers a fully traceable workflow, because what we do, we follow the molecule over the supply chain. This is a part which I really like to say always. ESG compliance, a challenging area with the regulations changing every month, so to say. So there are different kinds of regulations which apply in different areas, and they are changing. We integrate emissions data from different kind of sources. I would say data sources from the software provider. We integrate the consumption tracking so that we can offer our customers an audit base, I would say, which can serve them in different purposes. And I was talking about data. Data is a part which became very, very important, and we act as a data layer for our partners and for different kind of partners from our ecosystem, which need different kind of business data information, for example, for which we are responsible as a heart of the terminal, in order to implement different kind of concepts, like the well-known digital twin concept, which might be used for a simulation, which might be used for a business continuity management simulation, as an example. And we have all this information, the traceability of the orders, procedures, of all the workflows which took place in a loading and unloading procedure. And I would say last but not least, more important, we are having terminals to handle more services and more operations with, I would say, automating different kind of manual procedures, which perhaps till yesterday were manual. We are automating the checks, and we try to offer them a safer operation with all our processes, and also a smarter throughput, I would like to say, for the fuels of tomorrow. And I think also very important for the staff of tomorrow. We are a software provider, and we also need to adapt to the staff of tomorrow.
Speaking of the staff of tomorrow, you must have heard in your meetings with terminals, and maybe you experience it as an organization yourself, that in Europe, there's a trend of an aging workforce. And in terminals where you can have physical demands on your body, going up ladders, walking around the terminal itself, etc., the staff need to have a certain level of mobility, but with an aging workforce, you lose that mobility. The second thing is that we want to encourage more young people into our industry. Sometimes our industry is seen as too static, too boring, is far away from a city center. You can't get public transport easily to a terminal. Some companies try to gamify this a little bit to attract young people, but what is your approach to these issues?
The aging workforce is for me. I can say that. Look at me. So I'm part of aging workforce, and in fact, this is the most important reason of our customers to do something on their solutions. I think the most important message is, because you have always specific knowledge in terminals, which was developed over maybe many, many years of people who really make these terminals operate, that before these people retire, that you digitize their knowledge somehow. And again, we can standardize as much as we want. There's always specific knowledge also about the specific setup of terminals, specific processes, which need to be considered once we implement our software. So most important message, do it early enough. Don't wait until these experts leave. Make them part of this change. And then if you talk about to make it attractive, we can't change the locations of terminals. We don't build cities around, and we don't open a cinema in the region. We can't help on that. But at least we can make the workplace more attractive, more modern. If you look today at certain solutions, they're very old-fashioned, and they don't support the user. They're more a burden. So we try to make it more modern, what young people know also, the tools they use, they also the systems they use, the mobile devices, and so on. That's important to really get this, so that when they come from their university or wherever they come from, they find something which are more or less also used from their private life and usage. Gamification, we not yet considered. It's a good idea. We didn't do yet. Might be an idea to give bonus points if they use our systems right. And very important for us also, automate processes. We mentioned this already. Repetitive work is one of the most annoying things for customers and for everyone, I think. If you do things which an automate could do better and faster, but it's not there, that's the most annoying thing. And this needs to be replaced. And as I have the opportunity, we think workplaces get also more attractive if we can replace as much as we can Access spreadsheets. Our biggest competitor in software solutions, Excel. So that is also a bit of a mission. We think life gets better without, at least for the workflows. It's a good tool beside, but it shouldn't be part of the operations.
And so speaking about monotonous activities, one of the issues faced by our terminals is a huge range of reporting requirements to customs authorities, to climate agencies, to different parts of government. How does OpenTAS help reduce this?
Yeah, maybe I start first not only with the reduction of the workload, it's also to be always up to date with the constant changing legislations. And again, European Union, as nice as it is also full of new rules being set up, and Germany in front of it. And that means our customers always need to adapt to it. So we really aim for, and we build a modular software architecture where we can fast adjust to those different processes, including reporting. It's not only reporting, it's often integration, and there's also certain rules and checks to be applied. And the other part is that we also know our boundaries. It means we have regional legislation where we cannot reach out to get certifications from the local customs and so on. So we look for a really ecosystem approach where we then integrate other standard software solutions and look for partnerships, for example, with local custom service providers, which know much better than us what specifically is required in that specific country. Also working with organizations like yours, the FETSA, the UTV helps a lot, because we get the right insights and we have connections to the people to also in an early stage already find out what do we need to consider, because it's not only doing it, it's also tracking what comes and when it comes and what are the deadlines. So the partner network is in this regards really key. And I can only repeat this specifically for customs. It's one of the biggest invests we did in the last years, and we are still doing it. It's a lot of knowledge to be gained. We hear from our customers, smaller terminals cannot afford customs experts in their own yard. They look not only for solutions, but also for consultants, how to be compliant. And especially talking about maritime terminals, that's the key point. And we look for real-time customs compliance, for import-export blendings, and always be able to upgrade as it is needed.
You asked before about some of the other challenges we face, and one of the key challenges is actually access to capital. It's a capital-intensive industry, especially when preparing for the energy transition. To try to attract capital, there are a number of things that our sector can do. One of which is demonstrate an impeccable safety record. Another is to demonstrate to investors that the industry is cutting edge, and that it's investing in energy transition compliant processes and technologies. In some senses, this may require a bit of a cultural change when it comes to digital technologies, because, as you know, many people working in terminals are hands-on engineers by training. How do you manage this, and how can you help with this?
Thomas, if I may, I would take this one.
Always.
Yes, definitely. Oil and gas is in and has been seen many years as a conservative area. And if someone would have asked me 10 years ago, where's the cloud in oil and gas? I say, look for it in 20 years, to be honest. Now, taking a look now, after the advancements of the technology, after the entire changes, definitely disruptive changes which took place in the world, also towards safety, risk, and everything what happened, I would say that the digitalization and the digital transition of a terminal is not just about efficiency, but it's also about the trust, the traceability, and the transparency. I think these are very important topics for investors and very, very needed, along with the digital advancement of I would say, of a terminal. So for investors, it's very important, definitely, that the terminal is managing the risk proactively. What does it mean? That's from the technical perspective. How do they do this? That the operational maturity and the readiness for the new fuels is there. And this is what we actually do day by day at OpenTAS. So we bring the technological advancement on our customer side. We cannot force it. We need to have we need to wait. Definitely, we need to find the right moment because it's still conservative, and we need to find also the right stakeholders for this to address exactly the topics which are now a challenge. And with this, I would say, step by step, we bring the terminals in a position where they are important and interesting for different investors and shareholders. So by investing in a technological advancement and being bold in the technology, I would say this is how we are supporting this important tasks.
Okay. I think I'm looking at the time, and we have a last segment we would like to do. It's a bit now, we have
Perfect.
to make a fast track now. And this is about that Monica and I, and also the rest of the company, in our daily business, we also witness a lot. I mean, again, thanks, Ravi, for your insight. That's really helpful. Also, it confirms also what we witness. But we have also our own special, let's say, things we witness, and we would like to share that. And we have some questions on you. I think, Monica, maybe you made up your thoughts. You can start just.
Yeah, I would go with the first one, Ravi, if I may. So we have seen many cases where the terminals reach out very late to us. They are disappointed. They have failed implementations behind of them. And then they come in the last moment when the timeline is tight, operations is under pressure, the terminal must go live, and I would say also the trust in a digital system is quite low after having a fail in the background. And most of them have tried a different kind of generic ERPs, customizations, or they have tried to use a DCS system with a little bit of business, processes, which are definitely not designed for our workflows or specific maritime workflows. So from your conversations with the members, why do you think the terminals delay engaging with purpose-built digital solutions as we have in our portfolio? What are the challenges?
I think that each terminal is different. So you may have some terminals that don't find themselves in the situation that you describe, but speaking very generally, without referring to any particular terminal, I think that there are a couple of challenges. The first challenge is a trend I see that is maybe prioritizing operational work over transformation. And partly this is linked to resources and the overall prioritization of building and developing your business. And I think the other challenge is related to previous experiences. So if you have invested a substantial amount of money in digitalizing, automating, etc., your terminal in the past, but it didn't come to the results that you originally expected, would you be willing to take that kind of a risk again? Or would you even get approval to take that kind of a risk again?
Yeah, understand. I think, Thomas, for the sake of time, I will let you ask also your question so that I do not dominate
I
now
have
this
only one
section.
at my heart again, and I already mentioned it, and very shortly, it's about this sweet spot between standardization and the adaptability of a terminal, so the willingness also to change. And as said, terminals differ in many reasons, but in essence, they do the same thing. And due to that reason, also, we developed our OpenTAS Go solutions. And Monica will explain a bit about it. And at the end of the session, OpenTAS Go MRT from maritime terminals. And but the question is, do you see the willingness of your customers, of terminals, your members, to standardize more, so to really also adapt to more standardized workflows, if it leads to operational benefits?
I think is a nuanced topic because there are many aspects that are competitive aspects of each terminal. But where standardization makes sense, for example, potentially in safety, where you want to be operating to best practices, maybe in customs reporting, where you have a legal standard that you need to adhere to, that could be a benefit. But there's no one size fits all approach, I would say.
Thank you. And I would have a last question. I think we touched, Ravi, the topic of the partnerships ecosystems, and we don't see ourselves as a software vendor only. We aim to be a partner with our customers. So we have in our portfolio customers with whom we have developed the portfolio, the product. We have adapted by, I would say, every time adapting to the new challenges, shaping the products as needed by the customer. So we have 10 plus years partnerships in place with our customers. And now, would you agree that long-term vendor partnerships, especially in IT, are becoming essential for the terminal success?
I think one of the reasons why we have a supplier partnership within FETSA is so that our tank storage community can build precisely long-term relationships with a range of suppliers across the sector. And you are part of this, which is great. I think that another driver of having long-term relationships is because it tends to reduce cost and it improves reliability of the solution as you know each other better.
Thanks.
I think the ultimate compliment perhaps that I can pay to you today is that you are going the extra mile to engage by organizing this kind of event. And it's something we really appreciate.
Thank you very much, Ravi. Thank you. Then it shows we are doing really the right things. And with this, I would also like to show you. It's just a 2-minute slide where we show you how we do the right things, and we get now also the confirmation from Ravi. We have shaped our company strategy. I hope my slides are to be seen. Thomas, please confirm.
Yes,
Thank you.
they are.
Thank you. We have shaped our company strategy towards the autonomous terminal. What does it mean for us? We support our customers in the transition towards the autonomous terminal, and we come with a strong knowledge, with a strong background in the area in order to be able to analyze each business process, to be able to automate them and to digitalize them, and then to take advantage of the data which comes out of it. So basically, we have in our offering different kind of services, consulting services, but also our full OpenTAS portfolio who supports exactly this transition. And now going towards our product portfolio, just a moment. Yes, now. We were mentioning a few times during the dialogue that we have a package solution, and the package solutions comes out of our OpenTAS flagship portfolio, so to say, where we have focused different kind of standardized packages, talking about standardization towards different areas. We have the OpenTAS Go IDT for the inland distribution terminals, as basically the truck loading, unloading facilities and the stock management. This basically a standardized package solution which really minimizes the time to market and the time of the implementation. Standardized comes out of the box for our customers. Now the second one is the topic of today, is the maritime, the OpenTAS Go MRT, which supports the ship loading and unloading. And then the last one, which will be launched towards end of this year, is the package for the special products terminals, such as LPG, LNG, and bitumen. And last but not least, as mentioned, OpenTAS Go MRT Maritime for the maritime terminals cover all the processes from arrival to departure, including ship loading, unloading, blending operations, customs handling, very, very important. Definitely account and stock management, and last but not least, the scheduling, the interberth and jetty scheduling. Thank you very much. And with this, I hand over to my colleague Antonia.
I think we already ran out of time, but maybe just one last quick question if we have the chance to ask you something. And I have one question to all of you. If there's one piece of advice for terminals just starting their digital journey, what would you say? Maybe Ravi, you would like to go first to give us your answer.
I think you have to have a cultural sensitivity that it is not easy to access financial resources, and that some staff within terminals may not be used to, let's say, a highly digitalized approach. In other terminals, you may have resources and you may have extremely digitally literate staff, but it's just an advice to do it in a partnership approach rather than be too imposing, I would say.
Thomas, maybe you?
Yeah, I'm more the hands-on guy, and therefore I have to say I always can only say the involvement of operators as early as possible, because it's always if you change systems, the change management must be attractive to people. And it is good for the people if it fits their daily reality and not is a theoretical thing. So it's very important to really talk to them and understand their needs. That's a key for success, I think.
And last but not least, I would, from my side, I would say the terminal should be bold in trying new technologies. Now, I would say the current situation shows us that the technology will support and can support us, and this is what we are doing day by day. We're putting thoughts how the new technologies can be integrated in our portfolios and how we can bring our customers and their terminals forward.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.